chaplains of the two teams prior to the week, or either while you're here. So as you say, you learn, okay, I don't want to talk to somebody who's living a life of hypocrisy.
Right. You want the guys that truly live it every day.
And the chaplains know who these guys are.
Exactly, because they spend every day with them all week long, all year long. So, they usually have Bible studies for the guys during the week and the coaches, and they usually have their chapel service, just like they will this Sunday morning.
Yeah.
They usually have events and services for the wives and family during the week, like the Colts were big with that. Tony Dungy, and, of course, Coach Caldwell, who followed Coach Dungy, is the offensive coordinator for Baltimore. So we actually talked to him. You'll see him today on video.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
He's really strong. And, of course, Daniel, our photographer, has got a lot of cool still pictures. So if you've never been to the Super Bowl, like Tim and I here today, and you've never been to a media day, or you've never been, like we're going to show you post-game, we'll send you stuff down on afr.net after the game. You're going to see what it's like Super Bowl week, because this is really the big part of the Super Bowl. People think about the game, but that's really the kind of the end.
Yeah. Roman Gabriel III with me today. We're in New Orleans. I'm Tim Wildmon on American Family Radio. Just to tell you where we are physically, if you've been to New Orleans, we are at the convention center in downtown New Orleans. We're just moments away from the Riverwalk. We are, I guess,
Bourbon Street's probably 5 minutes away.
Five minutes,
like
maybe the Superdome's maybe about a 10-minute walk.
I told Tim not to go there last night, though. So what we did was we went out to the restaurants last night. Now one thing about New Orleans that of course, if you've ever been here, is the best food in the world. It's absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
So we've been enjoying that this week, all week. And the other thing, Tim, that when we walked in today into the media centers, today is going to be the busiest day in this media center. And just to describe that, you're going to see some of the greatest players in NFL history who are Super Bowl champions. The media center is full of about probably, 200 stations in here maybe. Does that sound right?
Yeah. The media is just packed in here.
The guys come through for about 2 hours to each radio station like the one we're sitting at, and basically come through, and they're either talking about a foundation, a charity, marketing a product, talking about where they're going to be, visiting about the Super Bowl game and about the two teams, the Ravens and the Niners, and who's going to win. But you'll see guys like Joe Montana and Joe Namath and Marcus Allen and current player. I mean,
a lot of celebrities.
Yeah, anybody that you're used to seeing on a football field will be here today.
In fact, just a few minutes ago before the program, my son Wesley and I were walking around, and Kurt Warner.
Yeah, Kurt's with NFL Network right behind us.
Yeah, Kurt Warner was over here, just right next to us, and so I got a picture. He was kind enough. I got a picture with my son Wesley and Kurt Warner. But Kurt Warner, there's an example of an NFL great quarterback. In fact, who has everybody knows his Christian testimony. He had 3 appearances
in the Super Bowl.
He played 10 years and had 3 Super Bowls.
One Super Bowl MVP and won the game against Tennessee in '99. Lost to the New England Patriots in 2001. And then
Arizona
had still a record performance, though. He still holds many of the Super Bowl records for yards and for touchdowns.
I didn't know efficiency.
Oh, all 3 of them, he was stellar. I mean, he was incredible in all 3 of those.
I knew he was MVP, Kurt Warner was, of 1 Super Bowl. He went to 3.
The Pittsburgh one, he threw for over 300 yards and 3 touchdowns.
I didn't realize that. They lost, but still he had a great game.
He drove them down for the touchdown, and then Roethlisberger drove the length of the field to win the game for Pittsburgh.
That's true. I tell you, we came into New Orleans last night, got here, I guess, about 8, a little after 8, and it was dark, and it was beautiful. New Orleans, as you drive into New Orleans, it's a beautiful skyline.
Sunset,
really
I drove in about 5:30 the other day coming across the bridge, and it was absolutely gorgeous. I mean, it's low, obviously. I mean, you can see why Katrina did what it did here, because the water will only have to come up about 3 inches in your flood stage. I mean, that's the one problem here.
They had the Superdome all lit up last night. Very impressive downtown. You can tell the city is ready for the world's attention. Roman, you've been to how many Super Bowls now and covering them?
1994 was my first one. It was the Steelers and the Cowboys in Phoenix, and this is 19. Next year will be my 20th year. We've been really blessed. We love this. I've been doing radio and internet and television for years here, but this is a great thrill, Tim. I don't believe there's another Christian network, radio network on this road that's doing a live program here. So to have American family here at the Super Bowl is really a cool deal for our people that watch. And the other thing I want to let people know is we'll have stuff up throughout the week for them on AFR.net. My show is 7:06 Central, 8:06 Eastern on Saturday night, and we'll have wall-to-wall from here at the Super Bowl right here at the Media Center. More guests, more stuff. If you want to see wall-to-wall pictures, we'll be putting those up on the AFR Facebook page as AFR Talk. My Facebook page, 2 words, sold out. We'll be putting pictures, videos up. So if you want to see all the stars of both teams and you really want to get a feel for what Christian athletes are about on Super Bowl teams, because, Jim, we take it for granted because we're here, but a lot of people don't realize how many of these very committed Christian guys are playing in this game and will be kicking it off on Sunday.
We're in New Orleans at the Media Center at the Convention Hall, downtown New Orleans, and right near the Riverwalk, if you know where that is, if you're familiar with New Orleans. All the big hotels are down here and the famous restaurants and such. And we're going to be interviewing a couple of Christian athletes during this hour.
Chris Draft is coming in. Chris played 12 years in the NFL. We're looking at Marcus Allen right in front of us here, Tim, in the coat right here. They just walked in. He's doing some NBC radios next to us.
Yeah.
Super Bowl MVP, and I played with him with the Raiders when I was with the Raiders when he was a rookie. He made a lot more money than I did, though. His signing bonus was about $1 million, which at this time is nothing, but at that time was huge. Mine, I think, was $4,000. So, but it was big for a college student for me, I know.
No, absolutely. Well, the interesting thing is in this media center, for instance, NBC Sports Radio is right here in front of us. We've got ESPN Radio New York City. We got ESPN Los Angeles.
We got the national ESPN on the end.
Oh, they're down there?
They're all here.
I saw Mike Golick over there. You've got a lot of very well-known people. Dick Vermeil, the former coach of the Philadelphia Eagles.
Here?
Yeah.
Oh, man, I'd love to catch him.
He was right over.
Catch Coach Vermeil, see if he can get on.
Well, he doesn't know where he is, I don't think.
He's in here, isn't he?
Wesley's 23. I don't know if he knows who Coach Vermeil is. But
the good news is he's telling somebody that does. But that's kind of how it is here, though. These guys are in here for about 2 hours, so the whole crux of this thing is it's like a catching fish.
Yeah.
You know, you got people on their shows, and guys are coming by. You're trying to get them booked for your show, and of course their people are trying to get them on as many shows as possible. So this is one of the few places you can come where they want to get on all the time for 2 hours.
Hey, when you signed out of college, you played college at the University of New Mexico, quarterback, and then you signed with the Oakland. Was it the Oakland Raiders?
Oakland Raiders at that time,
Before they moved to Los Angeles?
The same year they moved to L.A.
Same year they moved to L.A. And so you played then, and Marcus Allen was on that team?
Marcus was a rookie, and quick story about Marcus because he went obviously to USC, and I was from Southern California.
Yeah.
He went to high school not too far from me. When I found out he was the number 1 draft pick, we came in at that time, right after the draft, you came in and you worked out for 3 days, the rookies only, for the coaches. You go to the complex, get familiar with the coaches, and then get your playbooks, and then you'd have 2 or 3 days where they just wanted to run you through paces to see what you had. Well, Marcus Allen lined up behind me, and we ran three plays. The first one was like just a simple isolation play with a fullback over the center, and he went up the middle. I've never seen a guy faster to the hole in my entire life. He's about 6'2", he's about 200 pounds, slender, but he's not, at that time, 4.6 40 wasn't that fast, but he was quick. And he got to the hole so fast, I almost didn't get in the ball. I mean, he was the kind of guy that didn't run and just jog. He ran every time he got it and scored, no matter whether he was 80 yards away, 50 or 30. So next play, we floated him out to the sidelines for a deep pass down the sidelines, threw the ball, and he dived, laid out, and caught a fingertip pass. The next play, we ran a play where he threw the ball because he played quarterback a little bit in high school. He threw a 60-yard pass, like right on the money on the sidelines. The guy who was the starting tailback at the time was a veteran, excellent player, Oklahoma guy named Kenny King. The next practice, Kenny was fullback and he was tailback. That's how good Marcus Allen was. 3 plays and it was all over for the coaches. I guess we need to stick him in the lineup. And he ended up being, of course, a Hall of Famer, one of the greatest touchdown guys in the history of the world. You couldn't stop him inside the 5.
Talking to Roman Gabriel. We're here at the Media Center. The buzz, all the celebrities are here at the Super Bowl week. And Roman's down here getting a lot of interviews with some of the Christian athletes and coaches. You mentioned Michael Orr. You talked to him. And so he said it was kind of surreal.
Yeah, because when we were talking about the movie, he was saying that he really never met any of the actors in it because it was football season. So people think, well, you met all the actors. The guy who played you, all this stuff. He goes, well, really, I didn't. But the story is about him. But he talked about foster parents, talked about growing up in a tough situation. And he said he really had no role models, that he made good decisions. You know, he just decided in his life to make good decisions at a young age. And, of course, his foster parents helped with that. But I said, well, who were the people that helped you? He goes, I really didn't have anybody. It was me. And I said, what made you make the right decision? He goes, I just felt in my heart that I wanted to do the right things. And when we talked to him yesterday, he said, I pinch myself today knowing that, because we were talking about how kids sometimes don't have hope. And he said, I just want to tell kids out there, you can reach your dreams and goals. I had every kind of obstacle in the world, but if you have the right people around you, you make good decisions, good things will happen for you. And he said, I'm just pinching myself today that I'm playing in the Super Bowl.
That was Sandra Bullock played.
Mm-hmm. The mom, the foster mom?
Yeah, and Tim McGraw, the country singer, played the dad.
I didn't know that was him until my wife pointed out because he had no beard.
Well, if Tim McGraw doesn't have a hat on,
exactly,
he can walk down the mall and you wouldn't tell who he was.
Well,
probably.
my wife kind of, like all the women.
Yeah.
Boy, is he built well. Boy, does he look good. Can you slim down
and look like Tim McGraw?
Yeah. He's like a brick.
Yeah. Well, he can sing too. So he's got a couple things on you there, Roman.
Tim, you're all right though. You may not be able to sing,
Yeah.
but you got those stunning cowboy looks. I mean, come on. You got boots on.
That's what they say. Try to be humble. Who else have you and I had an opportunity to talk to so far?
You know what? The key guys, first of all, the Baltimore Ravens story is incredible because of what they've done in the playoffs and just overcoming so many obstacles. They've had so many bad things happen as a team personally. Of course, they lost their owner, Art Modell. A couple guys lost loved ones. Torrey Smith lost his brother, the wide receiver. They had a lot of tribulation and difficulty
during
this
the
year.
Season?
Exactly. John Harbaugh, their coach, is a strong Christian, great leader. Anquan Bolden, their wide receiver, strong Christian. Torrey Smith, Jacoby Jones. Of course, Ray Lewis' story is incredible with him playing his last game on Sunday in the Super Bowl. And Ray Lewis has been extremely vocal. We'll have video of him up. I mean, he's like having a pastor here talking. I mean, he's just preaching. He's preaching. That's what he wants to talk about. But you have key guys. Vernon Davis, the great tight end for the Niners, strong Christian.
Yeah.
Alex Smith, Colin Kaepernick. I mean, we got the key players of this football game that love God. And that's what's awesome about the Super Bowl. And that's why they like us here, Tim, because you can talk about the game for about one day and be sick of it. I mean, you can hear every X and an O talking about when you walk around this place today, and they'll be talking till Sunday about it.
Yeah.
What we're talking about is real life, what these guys are all about, their passions, who they are,
That's good.
what you want to know out there, the fans.
Yeah. Talking to Roman Gabriel. I'm Tim Wildmon. You're listening to the American Family Radio Network. We're broadcasting live from New Orleans. It's NFL Super Bowl week. And we're in the media center here, and the media from around the country, all the big media is here, and the big and the little media are here covering this event and talking to athletes. I mentioned earlier we just spent just a minute with Kurt Warner, got a picture of him, the NFL great, and we're talking to Roman about some of the Christian testimonies that are on this, that are here.
Quick story about Kurt Warner.
Go ahead.
For a second time he was down here after he won the MVP, and he came in the second year as the MVP of the regular season. The Rams were picked heavily to beat New England here in New Orleans.
I remember that.
He was doing a press conference, and he had just gotten a big raise, from the minimum wage to about $8 million a year.
He was stocking shelves back in Iowa for a while.
Exactly. Yeah. In the Arena League he played, in the World League. So here's a guy who made it through great. He was just an incredible Disneyland story.
Yeah.
Well, he was around the press, and the press was surrounding him in one of the conferences that we go to. There's probably about 200. And Rick Riley for Sports Illustrated was asking, well, Kurt, you just got a huge raise. You're making about $8 million a year. What's changed in your life? And he said, well, just not many things except for the fact that I can't go out publicly with my family as much. Private time with my family is kind of tough because everybody knows who I am. But he said nothing's really changed. And he said, the money thing is God's anyways. He said, I give 10% to the church. That's his money. And, of course, as he said that, everybody was looking up and trying to calculate in their head, that's $800,000 a year. So Rick Riley was looking at him. He said, well, wait a minute. He said, you're giving $800,000 a year. You're giving 10% to the church? He said, it's not my money. It's God's money. That belongs to him. That's never changed no matter what I've done. And they were just blown away. I mean, everybody in that place just with their mouths open thinking, He's given $800,000. But that's why Kurt's been blessed, and so many of these
Yeah.
guys, because he doesn't see this as I'm a star. He sees it as a platform to